There are 3 ways to find happiness in life. First being love, I'd rule that one out for most of you since you just clicked on an anime video. The second being indulgence, so just eat some Doritos or something, man, I don't know. And the third and topic of today's video being passion. And no anime represents this better than Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad. Beck is a manga by Tsukushi that was adapted in 2004 into a 26-episode anime. It tells the story of a band that dreams of stardom through the lens of Koyuki, a high school kid, like a lot of us in school. He's pretty apathetic towards life. He feels stuck in a tedious routine, yet has no motivation or direction that will allow him to break free from it. His only friend is Hanabe, who it's made pretty obvious throughout the show that he doesn't actually care for Koyuki. But I mean, is that really a surprise when the guy's making faces like these? Dude looks like a literal troll face. So to sum it all up, Koyuki's bored.
Is this really all there is? I had to wonder. 14 years old, and I already felt like my life was at a dead end.
This all changes for Tanaka when he meets Ryusuke, the man who would become his gateway into the world of rock and roll. If any of that at all sounds interesting to you, stop the video and go watch Beck, in dub. No! All 26 episodes of the dub can be found on YouTube.
Hello everybody!
And if you're still not convinced, then stick around, as I'll be keeping spoilers pretty low. I originally planned for this video to be a complete analysis of everything about the anime/manga, but I honestly don't think enough people in the West have even heard of it, and I'd much rather help you find something new to watch than sit here analysing Beck for an hour like it's the Crucible or something. So anyway, why do I like Beck so much? Let's talk about that. Beck is the only anime I've ever watched that feels real. This isn't some self-insert powers fantasy to help you sleep at night before Brad gives you a wedgie tomorrow. No, Beck's characters feel like actual people. You've got Tiger, the funky bassist, who acts almost like a mediator for the band due to his calm nature. He's the backbone of the band and what holds it together. Next up is Chiba, the loudmouth vocalist. He's a bit of a goofball and mostly comic relief for the show. However, he's got an undeniable presence on stage that's pretty protective of everyone in the band. Next is Saku, the easygoing drummer. He's the best friend of Koyuki, and the first to talk to him when the bullies impose a school-wide silent treatment on him. Damn bro, bullies in Japan just have no chill air.
Dude, that guy's a dork!
Saku befriends Koyuki, as he honestly just doesn't care what other people think about him. He just saw a dude who's into the same music as him.
There are 2 types of people in this world. Those who do what they're told and those who are true to themselves. Most people think you're supposed to follow a predetermined path, keep your head down, obey the rules, do whatever's popular. But some prefer to find their own path in life.
Man, there's just something about Saku that feels like home. Finally, Ryusuke, the blues guitarist and creator of Beck. Music is everything to him, and over time you can see he prioritizes it above everything, even his friends.
Punch!
Though he's extremely talented and a role model for Koyuki.
So you play by ear?
Yeah, afraid I don't even know the basic scales.
Wow.
It's all just, I don't know, feeling.
These guys all came together because they had a passion for music. They actually interact with each other in a way that friends who show an interest would, giving them an actual chemistry both on the stage and off. And it's honestly just super entertaining to follow them on their music grind. The show also doesn't shy away from portraying the reality of wanting to make it as a musician, and how being passionate about something doesn't allow you to automatically go ultra instinct and start succeeding in life. In real life, passion just kinda comes and goes. I relate to this big time as I used to be pretty into art, so I ended up going to art college after school. I've been there 3 months. You wanna see what I made in ceramics the other day? Listen, I don't know about you, but I'm not sensing much passion in my art making. Maybe a passion for Clash Royale, but that's it. Anyway, my point is, it requires a lot of discipline and resilience to be okay with failing for a while, and you're probably not going to enjoy most of the tedious practice that's required from you. We see this in Beck's journey, with Koyuki in particular struggling the most, as he's the newest to music. It's honestly kind of motivating to see him putting in the hours. Sure, the author did give him an amazing voice, as this is a shounen at the end of the day, but we still see all the effort he and the rest of the band puts in at rehearsals. We see Koyuki from the times when he can't even play the simplest scale, to when he's on stage in front of all of Japan. He's constantly facing failure throughout the show, with him getting rejected and discouraged countless times. Though he eventually says fuck it and decides to stop caring about all the noise and start devoting his life to guitar. This changed for Tanaka, who's natural, especially in the early episodes. You really get the feeling this guy lets other people's opinions dictate his own life. If learning to break free from that isn't rock and roll, I don't know what is. Of course he didn't come to this conclusion on his own, and the people we met through music played a massive role in this. In particular, Saito, the kind old paper salesman by day, and by night a retired Olympic swimmer. Originally Mr. Saito was a swimming coach for Tanaka, after he was introduced to him by Hitomi, in hopes he would find a passion in swimming. Over time though he became a guitar and I guess life coach for Tanaka. Saito is a textbook definition of someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, which is something that kind of rubs off on Tanaka. And I doubt he'd be where he is at the end of the show, both emotionally and skill-wise without his help. Dude's also got mad game. Unfortunately none of this rubs off on Tanaka, but whatever. Beck also doesn't sugarcoat what trying to make it as a musician is like. It's a lot of the scummy shit that goes on through Ren and Leon, but both only came about making money instead of good music, and we're happy to get rid of any musician once they've used up their usefulness. Ren is just kinda asshole in the anime, not gonna lie. An asshole serves the story, but an asshole at the end of the day. Leon's also a bit like that, but he's cool, so let it slide.
Boss, don't listen to this asshole!
Put the fucking gun down. Goldie, this is business.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground!
I also love how the dude's backstory is that he has blood from 5 continents, which technically makes him immune to racism. Beck is able to come out on top from Ren and Leon, as they have what the anime calls destiny, or plot armor, if you will. However, we do see many examples of people, at no fault of their own, couldn't make it. As at the end of the day, sometimes your best isn't enough.
Face it, you're a nice kid, but you're nothing special. Quit fooling yourself. You need to stop screwing around and get yourself a real job.
Real job?
Damn straight. It's time to start taking life seriously. No one's gonna lift a finger to help you out. They'll just amuse themselves with you till they get bored. Enjoy the applause now.
It's shit to think about, but there's probably millions out there who gave everything they could to their passion, only to be rejected and stuck in a dead-end job. It's kind of the whole point of fame, you know, that only a select few can make it. I'm sure some people would blame society or even capitalism for this gap between success and passion. But the economy part, I'm not sure I can comment on, since my understanding of capitalism comes down to when someone buys all the orange squares in Monopoly. What I can say is passion won't always lead you to a success, which sucks, man, it really does. But I think you have to try anyway, as not trying at all is a worse fate than failing. You'd hope that the anime about music would deliver with some bangers, and well, it certainly does. The band takes inspiration from bands like Red Hot Chili Pepper and Rage Against the Machine. Not my own bias, since Rage Against the Machine is my G-Up band. Honestly, I know their music may not sound like the greatest band ever, like the show tries to portray them, but it does a pretty good job at hyping you up when you hear them play. It's also pretty impressive that all the VAs did the singing themselves for the dub, which is a superior way to experience the show in my opinion. I know that some of my fellow veterans out there are already heading to the comment section for war, but you gotta take my word for this. The Beck dub is in the same category as the Cowboy Bebop dub, so yes, it's mandatory to watch and dub.
Well, you wanna try? I don't know about your town, but my friends in New York died. You can't fuck around in my neighborhood. No.
Come on. You wanna do this?
Please, dude.
I don't know how it is where you're from, but in New York, I've watched friends die. You do not fuck around in my neighborhood.
Also, just a warning, the VA for Tanaka is also in the dub for Ghost Stories.
Oh my, what a gifted seamstress. I hope you're not a homosexual.
A Jew who can act and sew, so obviously I'm gay. I'm not gay.
So that was pretty hard to unhear. He does a good job on vocals though. I'm sure singing must have been a pretty daunting task too. Especially since everyone in the anime reacts to Tanaka's voice as if they've just witnessed perfection.
Darling, I will be loving you till we're 17.
I've heard some manga readers say that hearing the band's music actually ruined the experience for them, preferring the manga style of using the crowd to convey the emotion of the music, which allows them to imagine how unbelievably awesome the band sounds rather than to hear it, when in reality, they're just sitting in their parents' basement in silence. Because I hate to tell you this, but you can't actually hear anything when reading a book, man. Unless you can, but if that's the case, I'd be slightly concerned. Anyway, this is just where it comes down to personal preference. Personally, actually hearing the songs made the gig so much more hype for me, to the point where when I read on in the manga, I had to play music in the background to help give me that same experience. Which sure did help, but the manga still couldn't match the moments like Grateful Sound for me. This may have been because of my music choice being BTS, but hey, my point still stands. Besides the more personal critique, I do recommend reading in the manga though. The story only gets better, and it really makes me wish we go to season 2. You also get to see some of the sweet manga art, which brings me to my next point, animation. Listen, I'll be the first to admit that the animation is a bit dodgy at times, so I wouldn't be expecting the crowds to look anything like the manga panels. The most you're going to be getting is a few NPCs head bopping. But hey, you know, it's a product of its time. And now I find a bit of charm in 2000s animation. I'm not going to defend the amount of still frames though.
Wise man said if the bird won't sing, you make it sing.
The animators must have really been on a budget, because at some points they're just showing frames of scenery during the concerts. Like, bro, that's pretty and all, but, you know, take me back to the action. Bro, they really be making Ava elevator scene look like a masterpiece. Before I go on my society rant, I would like to talk about spoilers related to the climax just for a bit, so skip ahead. Alright, so for the Giga Chads that have already seen Beck, the part I wanted to talk about was of course Grateful Sound, which is pretty much the anime cementing itself as my all-time favourite. This partly comes from how well the build-up to the concert is done. You really feel how nervous these guys are, as not only is this their big shot, but they've also got to worry about the deal Ryusuke made with Leon. So it's pretty understandable that everyone would be on edge, especially Ryusuke, who we know is prone to be a bit of a skit when it comes to music.
Koyuki, what the hell are you doing? Get it right or get out! Quit wasting everyone's time!
so it's not really a surprise that he lashed out at Chiba, since he already was a bit stressed out. By the way, I love how quickly my boy Tiger steps in, what a legend. Anyway, the high stakes of the event and Chiba disappearing makes everything feel especially hopeless for the band, and not to mention they're on stage 3, which is the irrelevant one. So once the rainstorm hits, you begin to realize that this might really be the end of Beck. Of course it isn't, because we've still got 4 more episodes, but it's all about the feeling, man. This hopelessness is what makes Koyuki's walkout especially hype, as his decision to go out despite the scattered band and heavy rain shows how far this guy's really come, as he learned to not worry about what everyone else is thinking, and instead go out there and play for the 500 fans who are there. And also gives me chills hearing everyone's instruments come in one after another. Until Chiba finally arrives and the band can finally play together one last time. It doesn't end up being their last time, and they actually do get more people than the main stage, though for that moment you can tell they're putting it all out there. By the way, can we all agree Slip Out's a banger, dude? That song's going straight on the classics.
So that's how they got the audience.
And it was about time Tanaka finally put the moves in my hole. Dude had the dub since episode 6 and yet kept fumbling for another 20 episodes. That shit was stressful, bro. So yeah, Beck's a pretty important anime to me. I know some people won't be able to get what I got out of it, but I don't know, man. I just really connected with the show's message of just not letting yourself be weighed down by other people's labels of you. That's a big reason why I think so many people are afraid of pursuing what makes them happy in life, as they instead turn to excuses like society or luck. Like, fuck off, bro. I saw you on PlayStation yesterday. I know that may not be a particularly groundbreaking revelation, as the phrase be one's own man is something that we hear thousands of times in our lives, whether that's on the walls around your school or from shitty motivational videos. I do think that most people understand this advice once they're told it, but deep down only believe it to be cliche optimism. So I think it's cool when art like Beck can actually show us how to be one's own man, instead of just having it be told to us. But at the end of the day, it's easier said than done to do this stuff, and anime isn't going to suddenly make these changes easier. Like, Goku isn't going to do this for you. Finding something to be passionate about is a pretty good start though, so it's just nice to have something to look forward to too. Hey, and even if it doesn't end up going anywhere, might meet some cool people along the way. In conclusion, watch Beck, because it's pretty easy to create something that's depressing, but it's way more impressive to create something that makes you want to put yourself out there. And if you ask me, Beck's pretty damn inspiring.